I'd like to call to order Monday, July 13, regular council meeting. Would you please join Councilman Stipp in the Pledge of Allegiance and stay standing for the invocation?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Almighty Father, God in heaven, our prayer this day is that you would fill us with your faith and love so that we might love you and one another with all of our heart. Be with us tonight as we do your work here in the city of Goodyear. We pray that we will make wise decisions for the benefit of our residents today and in the future. Please keep the men and women serving this nation, both here and abroad, in your protection, and be with this council and our staff as we embark on our summer recess following tonight's meeting, that we may be safe and return refreshed to continue the work of our city. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Councilman Stipp. All right, let's go to the communication item. We have one this evening. Mike Hedlund, volunteer coordinator with Compass Church Code Busters Ministry, will give a presentation on the creation, process, and accomplishments of the church Code Busters program. Christina Plant, neighborhood services coordinator, will introduce.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As you know, in my role of Neighborhood Services Coordinator, I convene the Goodyear Faith Community Roundtable. The group was formed in 2009 and holds open the space for the City of Goodyear and its faith communities to collaborate in response to the needs of our community while nurturing goodwill. We meet quarterly, and the next meeting will be this Thursday, July 16th from 8 until 10 a.m. in Goodyear City Hall. Over the past year, discussions that took place at the roundtable meeting led to an opportunity for Southwest Valley faith community leaders to learn more about the Open Table, a licensed model local mission opportunity designed to restore people in poverty to community through relationship and the sharing of personal networks. Also, the development of a closed Facebook group intended to be a confidential forum for Goodyear faith community partners to request help for individuals and families experiencing an emergency, and the creation of an organized, sustainable volunteer network to assist Goodyear residents in need while they maintain code compliance, landscape code compliance. Tonight, I have the pleasure of introducing Mike Hedlund, volunteer coordinator for Compass Church Code Buster Ministry, to tell you more about this innovative solution, how it came about, and the difference they're making.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Mayor, council members, thank you for having me. And I'm going to try to keep to my 10 minutes or under here. So I do appreciate your passion being a retired veteran. The passion I saw in this room is incredible, really moving. Thank you. Picking up where Christina left off, somewhere along the line, I think in the last year or so, I guess code enforcement for the city of Goodyear would issue a citation, and I guess there was a pattern, occasional pattern of they'd issue a citation and somebody was disabled or elderly, or they were disadvantaged, whatever the case may be, and they were not able to come into compliance on their own. Maybe they didn't have the money, or they're in a wheelchair, whatever. So this came to the attention of us at Compass Church through the neighborhood services, Christina, and we had some meetings, got together, we talked to the code enforcement people, and what came about was we formed the Code Buster Ministry over at Compass Church. We now have roughly 45, give or take a few, volunteers with a huge list of landscape tools and who are standing by to go out and do this. And we've actually done, I think probably since the fall, late fall, we've done around more like 8 jobs here in the city. So here's how it works. Code enforcement goes out. They run into somebody, like I mentioned earlier, and they identify them as worthy of our services. We had these cards printed up. Actually, the city had the cards printed up, which we thank you for. And basically, they say landscape code violation help. And on there is it has the Compass Church Code Busters number, and another local church that jumped on the bandwagon as well, the New Foundation Church, and their number. So if the cited person decides to take advantage of this, they would call Compass Church. We have people in the office there who know what's going on. They get the information, they pass it along to me, being the team leader. I go meet with the people, assess the yard, what needs to be done, how many people would need to do the work, what tools would be needed. I activate the team, get the required number of people to volunteer, we schedule it, and we go out and do the job. You can see on your screen, this is one of the jobs that we did. And that sign was actually right where you see it, very close to the front door, free weeds. And we had some fun with that sign, by the way, afterwards. Here's some of our group. We went and had, our church had some vests made up. The back says Code Busters Compass Church, I believe. And we wear those when we go out on the job. And if you look, well, let me go to the next slide here. Yeah, here's a before and after. The slide on the left was the one that had the free weed sign in it. Front yard, it was pretty nasty. And you can see the slide on the right when we finished up. I think we had 16 55-gallon bags of stuff to get rid of there. Our area of expertise is landscaping. We might do some other stuff if there was some painting touch-up that needed to be done, depending on what materials were needed. But we're pretty much just front yard, what you can see from the street. We're not going to go in backyards and haul away, stuff that's been hoarded, and we're definitely not going to go in houses just inside the house to fix plumbing or anything due to legal issues and whatnot. But we're out there, we're visible, people can see us getting the job done. Let me see, I think I have here's another couple shots. The one on the left was a very interesting job, but we got her done. Including the one on the right. There's our free weed sign again. And, the main thing is we're just happy to be helping in the community. Our philosophy is we are just showing the grace of God and extending a helping hand to those who need it, and just being a force for good here in the community, of which we are a part, obviously. So I think that pretty much wraps it up. I'm going to say on another note, just a side note, we just got approval, our final approval from the city. We're going to be breaking some dirt up over there at Compass Church and adding to our campus, to the buildings. We're excited about that. But we're always looking for ways to extend a hand out into the community and be good Samaritans.
Thank you.
Any
Thank you
questions?
very much. Yes, and I'm sure there'll be some comments from Colin, but thank you very much. Councilman Pizzillo?
To me, personally, what makes this community great is those thousands of hours of volunteer service that everybody give. And again, as you had mentioned, your words, force for good. That's what makes it great, and really appreciate you stepping up. And I know with the Faith-Based Roundtable, there's a lot of people on there stepping up within the community, and I truly, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate everything you do. And again, to me, which sets this community apart from others is the residents who step up when feel a need where there ever happens to be. So again, bottom of my heart, thank you, and all your members that are out there doing this.
Thanks for the
Appreciate
kind words.
Any other comments? Molly?
I just want to say I really feel that your church is exhibiting love thy neighbor as thyself, and you're really extending the hand, which in turn will allow whoever you're helping to see how kind and generous you are, and then they in turn will be receptive to you as well. But we just thank you so very much. This is a very nice way to help someone in need.
Thank you. And I'd just like to point out one more thing. We're not going up, knocking on the doors and handing Bibles while we're there. We're just out there to do the good work and just be there. So,
Thank you.
okay.
Joanne?
Well, I just need to say thank you, and I know that really you're not here to tell us about that, looking for the thanks, because that's not why you guys do things, and we know that, but we appreciate everything you are doing, because that is important to this city, that we have people like you out there, and I know that we always sit there saying, oh, the difference between not having God and government and this and that, I won't even go down that road. But this is the prime example of what you do for our city, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Carolyn?
Well, I like this leading by example. And you're not preaching, but you are by your leadership and example teaching. And that's very exciting from many, many points of view. So I thank you. I think it is a marvelous contribution because as you know, I am in a chair myself, and I sometimes have challenges. I just have a very generous landscaper, so weeds doesn't happen to be my challenge, but it's very frustrating to see your house or to your yard or to whatever deteriorating because you're unable to do it. So I thank you for that community as well.
You're welcome. And you've always got the Code Busters as a backup. So
Thank you.
Bill?
Not much more to say, obviously, other than thank you very much. And doing the Lord's work is always it's always a challenge, but it's always also very rewarding. So thank you for your continued contribution to our city.
thank you. Thanks again.
Really appreciate it. And it's amazing, when you come from an area where you have grass, and when it gets a little high, nobody minds it really, right? You just kind of run in it with your feet. It makes you feel good. But, when you have rock like we do, it's so unsightly as the, as the bright shrubs and as the weeds peek up out of that rock. So, and it's hard work. So this is tough work. And I see these young ladies as well as gentlemen out there working. So we appreciate the sweat that you produce from this job that you do. And there are so many people that really, we have shut-ins in Goodyear. We have other people that are getting older and they just can't handle it. And then we have the challenge people. So we really have a combination. And so it's much needed. And I really appreciate the work you've done so far. And I hear really good things about your church, and it's growing, they tell me. So congratulations.
That's great.
All right,
Thank you
let's
so
give a round
much.
of applause.
Appreciate it.
Okay, now is the time.
Mayor,
Yes.
we still need to do a roll call tonight.
Oh, isn't that nice? I just kind of forgot about that. Okay, we're going to do that next. Okay, we're going to have a roll call. What I need is a motion to please excuse Vice Mayor Loretano for not being here tonight. Do I hear a motion?
So move.
Second.
I heard a motion from Councilman Campbell and a second from Councilman Pizzillo. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. She is excused. She will be here at the next meeting, which is in the fall. All right, so let's go on. Now is the time for a citizen who would like to address the city on a council, any non-agenda item. Do we have any cards?
No, Mayor.
All right, is there anybody in the audience that has decided to speak? No? Well, then let's go on to the consent agenda. Will the city clerk please read the consent agenda, items 6.1 through 6.5 by title only, please?
Item 6.1, approve draft minutes from a regular meeting and a special meeting held on June 22nd, 2015. Item 6.2, adopt resolution number 15-1716, amending policy 200, employee compensation, policy 300, employment, and policy 700, professional and personal conduct, as an amendment to the City of Goodyear Policy and Administrative Guidelines Manual of 02/01/2004. Item 6.3, adopt resolution number 15-1715, authorizing the establishment of public utility easements adjacent to portions of Goodyear Boulevard to be administered and maintained by the city, requiring recordation and providing for an effective date. Item 6.4, approve a request from Amy Nations for a permanent extension of premises/patio permit for Native Grill and Wings, liquor license number 1207991, located at 15375 West McDowell Road, Goodyear, Arizona 85395. Item 6.5, approve the First Amendment to the amended and restated intergovernmental agreement with the City of Avondale, City of Buckeye, City of Goodyear, and County of Maricopa, acting by and through the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, and authorize the mayor or designee to execute the IGA for the continued operation of the Southwest Family Advocacy Center.
Thank you. Does anyone wish to remove an item from the consent agenda? Does anyone on the council wish to remove an item? Councilman Pizzillo, is your just a question?
It's more of just a question. I know on 6.5 on the Southwest Valley Advocacy Center, you don't have to do it now. I mean, it's been a while since we've done the tour and the great works they do. I'm just wondering down the road, Mayor, is it possible to maybe get a presentation from this group, because they do great things out there, but it's been quite a while since we've had an update from that particular organization. I think, not right now, but it would be helpful to do something down the road on that.
City manager, take a note of that, and we'll take care of that. Thank you very much. Yes, Councilman Campbell.
I have a question on 6.4, the permanent extension of premises patio permit for Native Grill and Wings. Is this, you're asking, can someone, who's on this one? Who's staff? Oh, gosh. I'll have to ask an easy question because I'm sure I wanted to know, is this, are they just asking us to approve where the patio is exactly now? They're not adding an extension.
They're not physically adding an
It's already there.
extension. They're adding. I'll ask the applicant to come up and he can explain.
Are they here?
exactly.
I think we had a conceptual. If you got your, we had a.
There is a site plan, and
Yeah, I've got all of that.
shows that.
But all I'm asking is it the same one?
It's the same patio.
Right.
But we have on the side of it is a concrete pad. We're going to extend the patio to that concrete pad.
All right, and you're not going to have any bands out there at night
no,
so
not at
that we
all.
have a noise problem again with the neighbors that we did?
No bands
Okay,
at all.
that's my only concern. Thank you very much, Mayor. Thank you.
All set? Thank you very much. All right, could I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
I heard a motion by Councilman Osborne and a second by Councilman Pizzillo. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Osborne,
Aye.
Councilmember Pizzillo,
Aye.
Councilmember Campbell,
Aye.
Councilmember Stipp,
Aye.
Councilmember Holman,
Aye.
Mayor Lord,
Aye.
passes 6-0.
Thank you. All right, we're going to the business at 7.1, and it is a public hearing to consider an amendment to the Palm Valley Phase 9 planned area development for the enclave at Palm Valley North. Open public meeting. Will Chris Floden, architectural planner, to present. Chris?
Good evening, Mayor Lord, members of council. This is a request for an amendment to the Palm Valley Phase 9 PAD for the site on a vacant 8.61 acres on the northeast corner of 146th Avenue and Camelback Road. The current zoning designation for this parcel is MF18. The zoning amendment would allow for attached duplex product on 48 lots and revise the development standards as amended by the enclave at Palm Valley North planned area development. The new development will be designed and constructed in accordance with the City of Goodyear design guidelines and staff has reviewed the request and finds that it meets the criteria and conditions required for a PAD amendment. The planned area development zoning district is intended to accommodate and encourage and promote developments with innovative design involving residential and non-residential land uses, which together form an attractive and harmonious unit within the community. The planned development, if so specified at the time of the zoning approval, may include standards or criteria that differ from the regulations pertaining to other zoning districts, including the deviations of the development standards.
What does that mean?
I need the mouse. Sorry. Lainey, is there a way for you to?
Yeah, is there a way he can get a mouse or figure out how to?
Just advance the slide.
Can somebody step forward to help him a bit? All right.
We're checking on it, Mayor.
All right, we're taking a pause until we find
Sorry, Mayor,
that out.
I didn't realize the mouse wasn't
That's
up
a
here.
tough position to be put in.
On May 8th, On May 8th, 2006, the City Council adopted Ordinance 061002, rezoning approximately 209 acres of property generally located north of Camelback Road, west of Sun Valley property in Litchfield Park, and east of Falcon Dunes Golf Course. This rezone is known as Palm Valley Phase 9. The property was rezoned from agricultural district to final planned area development district for mixed-use residential, light industrial, and open space. The Enclave PAD amendment site is on the vacant property of 8.61 acres on the northeast corner of 146th Avenue and Camelback Road. Directly adjacent to the Palm Valley North Phase 9 is Luke Air Force Base. Located on the base is the high explosive munitions storage area, which is highlighted in red, and also 2 jet engine maintenance test pads, which are located there and there. Existing land uses and zoning surrounding the subject property include: to the east is Litchfield Park and the Sun Health property. To the south is Litchfield Park and existing single-family residential development and the Wigwam Golf Course. To the west, we'll have existing single-family residential development within Palm Valley Phase 9, the planned area development. And then to the north is existing single-family residential development, also within Palm Valley Phase 9 PAD. Access to the proposed Enclave Palm Valley North development will be from 2 vehicular entrances, both off 146th Avenue. The general plan land use map designates the subject property as neighborhood. The development standards for neighborhood allows for medium density residential property with densities greater than 5 dwelling units per acre and up to 12 dwelling units per acre may be considered. The 2025 general plan encourages neighborhood development that supports the city's desired community and character by creating and fostering complete neighborhoods. Complete neighborhoods shall include a range of housing types and places that encourage social interaction and accessibility to all people. One entry monument will be installed on the northwest corner of Camelback Road and 146th Avenue. Typical lot sizes, there are 4 proposed open space tracts creating approximately 14.2% of open space, or 1.22 acres. In this open space is a proposed community-specific pool for the residents of Enclave at Palm Valley North. Typical lot sizes proposed are 45 feet by 100. However, there are a number of lots that will be 110 feet deep. Here's a conceptual rendering of the entry monument. And the Enclave Palm Valley North PAD identifies the site plan and building architectural design guidelines for the proposed development and contains illustrated building concepts for the proposed buildings. The architectural elevation themes proposed for the project would be Spanish, Craftsman, and Prairie. Here's a conceptual rendering of what the elevations could look like. We did notify Phoenix Goodyear Airport, and given the location and nature of the proposed development, Phoenix Goodyear Airport will not be adversely affected. A copy of the PAD amendment and conceptual development plan were sent to Luke Air Force Base for review and comment. The subject property is approximately located 1/2 mile outside the high noise and accident potential zone and is subject to periodic overflights from the base. Staff received a response from Mr. James Mitchell, and a copy of that letter and a letter dated from June 28, 2006 were included within the staff report. Luke's concerns remain the same as they did in 2006. The inherent dangers have not changed. The property is located adjacent to the base's high explosive munitions storage facility and the jet engine test pads. It should be noted that the density for the subject parcel is reduced with this PAD amendment. It was recommended by Luke that if the city chooses to approve the Enclave PAD, special consideration should be given to mitigate safety and noise issues. Stipulations have been added in regards to the sound attenuation and disclosure of the development to the potential residents. In accordance with the citizen review process, written notice was sent out to property owners within 100 feet, and to date, no comments have been received from the public. The Planning and Zoning Commission considered this request at its regularly scheduled meeting on June 17th, and no comments or concerns were received from the public. The Commission voted 7-0 to forward the recommendation for approval to City Council. In closing, this concludes my presentation for this evening. I am available for question, and the applicant is also available for questions.
Thank you, Chris. Are there any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
Would anybody in the audience like to speak? And you know the process, so you have 3 minutes. And would you please state your name and address? This is Mr. Ed Bull.
Mayor Council Ed Bull, 702 East Osborne. I'm here on behalf of Madam E. Homes. He asked if I'd like to speak. I'd like to speak only if I need to. If I don't need to, I'd like to sit down. We're happy with the recommendations.
I give you permission to sit down.
Thank
okay? You. All right. Then, since the speaker is now finished, I'm going to close the public hearing. And will the city clerk please read ordinance 15-1325 by title only, please?
Adopt ordinance number 15-1325, conditionally amending the Palm Valley Phase 9 Final Planned Area Development pads as it pertains to 8.61 acres, Tract A, located at the northeast corner of Camelback Road and North 146th Avenue, and adopting the Enclave at Palm Valley North Final Pad Amendment dated April 10, 2015, with modified development standards for the UR/M medium density residential zoning designation to govern development of the property, amending the zoning map of the city of Goodyear, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Could I please have a motion, a second?
So moved.
Second.
I heard a motion by Councilman Stipp and a second by Councilman Pizzillo. Open for council discussion. Councilman Stipp.
Chris, can you go back a couple of slides? Right, actually, you can go right there. In that area that says Palm Valley North, not a part, just north of the subject property, has anything been built on those yet?
Mayor Lord, Councilmember Stipp, I will have to defer to the applicant to if they've built any, or if they've constructed any residential dwelling units.
Has anything been constructed in that area just north of here yet?
Madam Mayor, members of the council, Jose Castillo, Mattamy Homes, 9200 East Pima Center Parkway, Scottsdale. Are you talking about just to the north there?
Yeah, the area just north of
It's
this.
Palm Valley North right there.
I do not believe any homes have actually been closed. I want to say we've actually started construction on a couple. We did self-impose single story on all those lots. It's not part of any requirements, but since we're coming in with this product, we said single stories only on those lots.
Okay. Perfect. Thanks.
To answer your question, you fine? All right. I'm going to finish up. Well, go ahead, Councilman Pizzillo.
And just a general question, where I came from, when you had duplexes or townhomes or whatever they would call them, they had firewalls between the two residents. Do we require that in Arizona?
Mayor Lord, Councilmember Pizzillo, the building code for duplex units, I believe, require firewalls between all attached product.
So there would be a firewall between those two.
Correct.
I mean, is something coming up?
Building code governs that.
Mayor, Council, Christopher Baker, Development Services. And to answer your question, Councilman Pizzillo, there is a fire separation requirement by the fire code, and that is reviewed with building permit application.
Okay.
And we would not issue any building permits that do not meet that requirement.
Okay.
So yes, sir. And typically that's often done by a combination of building materials in that common wall, as well as sheetrock application type X, for example.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Osborne. Well, I'll just go right down the line here.
Thank you. I think, I don't have a problem with the duplexes or anything like that. I think my true concern, and I know this has been going on a while, but really is with the letter from Luke Air Force Base. You mentioned that there was stipulations to address the noise mitigation. I'm looking through them. I think I'm looking through them, A through J stipulations. Which one is it that is referring to, say, upgraded type of construction or something to help with the noise? Yes, that's what I'm looking for. Can you point out for me?
Councilmember Osborne, I do not have the stipulations actually in front of me.
Okay.
It deals with the ARS code,
Right,
which is in
correct.
Arizona State. Which
Do we have anybody that can address that?
G?
Yes.
So that's acknowledgement that. Oh.
H.
Okay. Okay.
Do you understand what the H means?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All righty. So, what of these properties you show? This is one of those where, are we Litchfield Park? Are we Goodyear? It's one of those lines. We're not sure who's where. Can you tell me, can you go back to one of your previous slides of kind of the full layout? Besides this being Goodyear, what else is Goodyear? Is this the first piece? Or are other pieces here Goodyear, or are they Litchfield Park? I just am trying to get a focus. If we are actually doing this for the first time, and Litchfield Park has always been kind of coming close to Luke, or is this just one of others that we've done? I just can't tell from this picture.
Mayor Lord, Councilmember Osborne, everything directly to the north and to the west of the highlighted parcel is Goodyear. That's Palm Valley Phase 9 PAD.
So everything that just looks vacant right now, but
Yes,
has a footprint, but has
Correct.
no buildings,
This
we've
is the-
already okayed that, and that's moving forward.
Part of the Palm Valley Phase 9 PAD, which has already been approved.
And when did we approve that?
2006.
So it's been a long time.
Questions?
No more questions.
Councilman
Thank you.
Campbell?
Okay, I've got several questions. Is the applicant going to build nothing but duplexes on this parcels?
Mayor Lord, Councilmember Campbell, yes, that is correct.
How many duplexes are there going to be?
48.
48?
So 24 buildings.
I'm sorry?
24 buildings, 48 units.
All right. My second question is, when did Luke take a look at this parcel?
Originally, they looked at it in 2006
No,
as part of the Palm Valley Phase 9.
Before now.
It would have been April of this year when it was submitted, and we sent out notification for the public hearing.
Okay. I expressed concern to staff this morning. I wasn't on council in 2006, and I know our mayor was, and we know decisions are made that are far-reaching long before we come on council. And I have a real problem having a letter from Luke in my hands dated 2006. I would have felt much better if I had another letter from Luke saying the same thing.
Which there is.
We do.
On it.
We do.
Well, I'm sorry. I didn't print it out when I printed everything else up. Did it just come out? Did we just get that?
No,
Was it with the staff
package? It was with the
package?
staff report.
Then I apologize, because I really am concerned about this, where we're even allowing building that close to Luke. And are we going to have the assurance from the builder that they will, when they sell this property, are these going to be, these are not rental properties, right? They're going to sell them.
Correct. They're for sale.
Okay, we have to be careful, and we want to be sure that whoever buys that property knows, number one, it's going to be loud, and they've also got a problem that there's going to be an ammunition dump half a mile away. And then we've also got the racetrack noise in that area as well that we dealt with, Mayor, the racetrack. And these folks are going to be right in direct line of that noise as well. So I just want to make sure that we as a council and we as a city do not get a bunch of complaints about noise and other issues that we're going to have to mitigate.
Would you address the racetrack?
Thank you, Mayor Lord and Councilmember Campbell. I just thought I would respond because after we got the letter from Luke Air Force Base, I called Luke Air Force Base and spoke with Barbara Plant about these concerns in a little more conversational manner of what can we as a city do to alleviate Luke's concerns. So one, on the letter we received, I did just want to give you a little bit of history because I know it is confusing and maybe for members of the public who are watching of how did we get to this place. So if I could use Elmo real quick. This is a map of the Palm Valley development way back in 1994. And I drew a black line here. This is the 65 LDN. And you can see all this yellow, that was residential. This was all property owned by Suncor. So there was a long history of there was residential already entitled in the 65 LDN. Luke Air Force.
Can you explain what 65 LDN?
Thank you. That's the day-night noise contour, so 65 decibels approximately at that point. So inside that contour, we work with Luke Air Force Base to keep residential uses outside of being inside there. But outside, we use a graduated density, and we try and graduate density so it's lower density near the noise contour, and it can get more dense as it gets further away. So there was already a lot of entitlement, and the developer we're familiar with, Suncor, who's now no longer in operation, worked very closely with Luke Air Force Base to try and remedy that. And this is a more modern development map, so you can see they moved all of that residential out of there. And that was something Luke Air Force Base and Suncor worked together. You can see this red circle. This is the, I don't want to use the wrong term, I think they call it the blast radius for the munitions plant. And that sounds really scary, but it's not quite as scary as it sounds. And that's why if you look at a map of Goodyear, there's a little notch at the top of our map of Goodyear. Suncor, my understanding is Suncor gave this land to the United States to get that area out of the blast zone. And so there were agreements between Luke Air Force Base and Suncor made. And they knew this rezoning was coming where those residences in Palm Valley Phase 9 were going to happen. And that's why in 2006, the rezone actually went through. We didn't get anything in writing when the rezone happened, but somebody from the Air Force Base was at the public hearing that night and spoke, and he even specifically said, Luke Air Force Base is not objecting. We just want to make sure that any potential residents are fully aware of what they could be buying into, what could be next door. He also stated at that time that their biggest concern wasn't the munitions, but it was the noise from the jet engine. When I spoke with Luke Air Force Base recently, just a couple months ago, they repeated that they're really not concerned about the munition storage, they're concerned about the jet engine noise. And the best way to deal with this is to let residents know ahead of time that it's happening. So I asked her, how can we do that? And she said, great question. There's some other cities that are doing a really good job, and she actually said Verado is doing a really good job. And I looked on our website and realized we don't have a Luke Air Force Base notification map on our website. So we're currently working with GIS to make a really good map, and we'd be happy to also put the racetrack on there with not just these noise contours, but explaining what they mean, putting the flight patterns on there, putting some of these, like this is the jet engine area, this is the munitions, and making it a really easy to read map, making sure that if you type in Luke Air Force Base or anywhere a new resident might go on our website, they can find this map. So that's something we can absolutely do. They also talked about just the language we use, not just saying, here's our notification map per ARS, statute, such and such, but say, hey, we're a proud neighbor of Luke Air Force Base, and there's some areas of the city that might be noisier than others. So we're working on that, and we will definitely, as soon as we get that up on the website, we'll send City Council links so you know that it's up there. And you can take a look at the map and see if you think it makes sense for our residents too, and they'll be able to see it. So that's something we're trying to do is work with Luke Air Force Base to do a better job of making sure they know. And what we heard from Luke Air Force Base is that this noise is the number one concern. So I hope that answers some of your questions. And Luke told us they wouldn't come out here to object to it. They're just concerned that the future residents know what's their neighbor is. So thank you.
Finished?
Yeah, so the builder will tell people who buy homes all of this and explain all of this to them
Thank you, Councilmember Campbell.
for disclosure.
Per the stipulations, they have to have the map in the office. So again, we're working on making sure it's a nicer map that's a little easier to read. So in the sales office, there'll be a map showing them, hey, here's our development and here's where Luke Air Force Base is. They also have to sign off, and it runs with the land. They have to sign a disclosure statement saying that they know that Luke Air Force Base is there. Of course, we know anyone who's bought a house knows you sign a lot of paperwork, and so it's easy to miss that.
Yeah.
That's why that map in the sales office is really important, and us trying to get information out any way we can is important as well.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Holman?
And I don't know, this is something that's the builder's responsibility at this time, but I understand that a lot of the angst is not when the first homeowner buyer, but if things improve, that the second buyer is notified. Is there anything that we can do? It's a question, just as have things improved in that area?
Thank you, Mayor, Councilmember Homan. The disclosure runs with the land. So any future buyers will have that same disclosure notice of Luke Air Force Base noise. That will run for all future buyers.
And I think at the closing table, you're required to make sure that you pass on that homeowners association or the whatever is connected with the land.
I was hoping it had improved because I understood it. Thank you.
Councilman Osborne?
Just according to this map, so is this project that we're talking about right now, just so I understand where we're located, is that within that circle, that little tiny yellow bit there at the, or am I off?
Mayor, Lord, Councilmember Osborne, it is not.
Okay.
The subject property is...
It's closer to the,
That's
closer
closer
to Count. Oh, I see. The orangey or yellow. Gotcha. Yeah, I see that. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes, Councilman Campbell?
I have, one more question. On this exhibit, are these all platted, and are these with the same developer?
Campbell, yes, that is with Mattamy Homes. They are platted.
But they have not built those yet?
They have not closed yet. They've started homes out there.
Okay. And these will be compatible with those.
Correct.
But, okay. And,
Compatible
okay.
with the architecture.
Right,
our
and
design
only
guidelines.
duplexes here, but not duplexes
Correct.
there.
It'll be single-family
Okay.
residences to the north and to the west.
Okay. Could I talk to you after council about this map? Thank you.
Any other comments? Well, I just feel like I should explain. I sat on that council in 2006, and Luke Air Force Base did not speak in opposition to the development, okay? We considered Luke back then, and we still do, as an important partner to our community, and we closely work with them on each and every planning and zoning request, and we'll continue to be partners. But the fact is, when this project came forward to us in 2006, it was determined that it did not violate any of these criteria, and that is why Luke Air Force Base did not oppose the project. So I'm excited on the duplex. I think it's a real needed home in our area. It brings more, again, what we call density. And so I'm pleased this project is going, well, that I think this project is going forward. The vote hasn't been taken in yet, but we will wait this. So any other questions? No questions? Okay. Could I have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Pizzillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Campbell?
Aye.
Councilmember Stipp?
Aye.
Councilmember Homan?
Aye.
Councilmember Osborne?
Aye.
Mayor Lord?
Aye.
Passes 6-0.
All right, thank you very much. All right, we're at 7.2, and I'm going to open a public meeting to consider the use permit to allow the convenient use of Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen Drive-Through Restaurant. Chris, you're back up for another presentation. He is the architectural planner.
Thank you, Mayor Lord and members of council. This is a use permit application for convenience use for a drive-through restaurant to facilitate the development of Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen, located at the northwest corner of Pebble Creek Parkway and McDowell Road. The drive-through restaurant will be designed and constructed in accordance with the approved design guidelines and materials for Cobblestone Creek Marketplace. Staff has reviewed the request and finds that it meets the conditions and required findings for a use permit and satisfies the additional criteria required for convenience uses. Pad 7 consists of 1.03 acres within the Palm Valley Planned Area Development. Pad 7 of the Cobblestone Creek Marketplace is depicted in this aerial with the red shading. The property is zoned PAD with an underlying zoning of C2, General Commercial. Existing land uses of the surrounding area include to the north, undeveloped commercial property within Cobblestone Creek. To the east is partially developed commercial property within Estrella Falls Marketplace. To the south is undeveloped commercial property within Cobblestone Creek. And to the west is developed residential property within Palm Valley Phase 8. A conceptual site plan and building elevations for the drive-through restaurant have been submitted as part of this use permit application. The basic configuration for the drive-through lane will include a single queuing lane with menu board and speaker box. The drive-through lane will start on the west side of the building and wrap around the south side where the pickup window is located and exit the building along the east. A conceptual landscape plan was submitted as part of the use permit application and is consistent with the Cobblestone Creek design guidelines. The restaurant will contain approximately 3,000 square feet of interior floor area. It will include indoor and outdoor seating in addition to the proposed drive-through component. The exterior facade is consistent with the Cobblestone Creek design guidelines. We did notify Phoenix Goodyear Airport and Luke Air Force Base, and given the location and the nature of the proposed use, neither the base nor the airport will be adversely affected. In accordance with the citizen review process, a written notice was sent to the surrounding property owners within 500 feet, and to date, no comments or concerns were received from the public. The Planning and Zoning Commission considered the request at its regularly scheduled meeting on June 17th. No comments or concerns were voiced from the public. The Commission voted 7-0 to recommend approval to the City Council. In closing, this concludes my presentation for the evening. Staff recommends approval of the request for the use permit to facilitate the development of the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen within the Cobblestone Creek development. The development of the parcel should be in conformance with the development plan dated June 11th, 2015. I'm available for questions, and the applicant is also present for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Chris. Are there any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
All right. Then I'm going to close the meeting, public hearing, and could I have a motion and a second to approve the request for a use permit in a C2 General Commercial District for a convenience use Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen drive-through restaurant to be constructed on a pad within the Cobblestone Creek Commercial Center, generally located at the northwest corner of McDowell and Pebble Creek Parkway, subject to stipulations. Do I hear a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
I heard a motion by Councilman Osborne and a second by Councilman Stipp. Open for council discussion. Councilman Campbell.
Chris, would you go to your aerial photo exhibit, please? Okay, can you identify the property to the south of the 103 acres? I mean, 1.3 acres? What's there?
Mayor Lord, Councilman Campbell, directly to the south is a vacant piece of property, and then also the Firestone is located. There's two properties located directly to the south of the 1.3 acres.
All right.
One is vacant, and then one is the Firestone.
So there's the vacant, and then is the next parcel Taco Bell?
Correct.
Okay. It would help if you can identify existing properties for us. I mean, I did drive it, so I did know that. I just wanted to be sure I looked at the right parcel when I was over there, but it would have been helpful if it said what's there already.
Okay.
So
In the future, we will locate those and label those.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right. Any other questions? Okay, so we're going to vote on this now. Ready? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. All right, the next item is 7.3. It's a public hearing to consider the addition of a self-service vacuum at Super Car Wash. Open public hearing. Alex, it's nice to see you. Latinsky, Planner 1 to present.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Good evening. This item is a request from John Ordell Architects on behalf of the Superstar Car Wash regarding their existing location on the the southwest corner of Dysart Road and Coldwater Plaza, which is just north of Van Buren. Superstar Car Wash is looking to add self-serve vacuums, which is stipulated in the original use permit. It requires an additional use permit. The site and surrounding parcels to the north, west, and south are all Zone C2, and to the east is Avondale property that's commercial property as well. On the northwest corner of Superstar Car Wash, the parcel, there are 3 residential units. These homeowners were notified, as well as property owners within 500 feet of the property. They were notified of the use permit. The vacuums will be located on the east end of the property, replacing some existing parking spaces. The placement moves the vacuums closest to Dysart Road to present traffic fluidity throughout the site and points noise away from the adjacent households. The citizen review meeting was held on May 27th, and no residents attended this meeting, nor were there any residents in attendance at the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting held on June 17th. At that meeting, the item was passed for recommendation 7-0. All public hearing notifications have been satisfied, and staff has received 1 phone call from a resident concerned about the potential noise additions. It appears that all stipulations of the original approval, dated January 27, 2004, have been satisfied except for stipulation number 30 regarding an 8-foot masonry wall that was to be built on the north end behind the property, the existing residential properties, if the homeowners expressed interest in having that built. The city did receive a letter from said homeowners. However, the wall was not built. Stipulation 4 of this approval requires the wall to be built after staff contacts those 3 residents once more to see if they would still like the wall to be built. To conclude, the existing car wash is Zone C2 and already conforms to general plan standards, and staff recommends approval subject to the stipulations noted.
Thank you, Alex. Well done. All right, are there any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
Would anybody in the audience like to speak? All right, then I'm, going to close the public hearing. And could I please have a motion and a second to approve the request for an amendment to the use permit to allow the addition of the self-serve vacuums at the existing Superstar Car Wash located at 490 North Dysart Road, subject to stipulations. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I heard a motion from Councilman Holman, I believe, and a second from Councilman Pizzillo. I keep promoting you again. Sorry.
It's all right.
Open for council discussion. Yeah, Councilman Osborne.
Alex, can you, did the applicant state why, from the previous stipulations, why they never built the wall?
Yes, he's here.
I'm John Riddell from Riddell Architects, Scottsdale, 7524 East Angus Drive, Suite 1, Scottsdale, Arizona, representing Superstar Car Wash. When we first took this project through years ago, there was a concern about noise, and at the time the council approved if the owners wanted it built, the owner would build, the car wash owner would build it. They did send a letter to the city 6 months afterwards and requested it. The owner met with the residents. They mocked up the height of the wall, what it would be, and everything else. At the time, the residents said, no, we don't want an 8-foot wall that close. But we are still, the owner is still leaving the stipulation alone. If the residents do want it, he will build it. They just have not required it yet.
Okay, I appreciate that. I was on planning and zoning, and I remember when there was this. This was not a simple case, let's put it that way. So I do remember, but I never realized about the wall. So I appreciate that background. Thank you.
Any other comment? Councilman Stipp.
Alex, what is the, I think it's the slide before this one. That one. There you go. Nice slide. What is the, what's that vacant area right behind the property, which would be to the west of it? Is that a drainage area for the property?
That is.
That's a retention area for the whole center there.
So it is the retention area?
Yes, it is to remain vacant.
Okay.
Any other questions? Councilman Campbell.
Well, I've got a couple of questions. The vacuums are going to be in the back of the building?
The vacuums.
Or
Thank
to
you,
the
Councilman Campbell.
to the front of it?
To the front.
Okay.
Facing Van Buren Street.
All right. I'm just concerned with the noise,
Dysart.
and I prefer that it go to the front as you're doing, because we have an issue at another car wash with the vacuum. The blowers of after you dry the car, and it's just loud and it's disturbing all the businesses around them. Mm-hmm. So I was not around when this went through planning and zoning and when we voted on it. However, this is the North Subdivision neighborhood, and I'm sorry that I did not know that this was even on the pike, and I would have had a meeting with that subdivision to make sure that they were still comfortable with this, because I can't speak for them now because I wasn't told that this was coming. So I appreciate you wanting to talk to the folks about the wall. They may need that wall just to mitigate the noise and so that people aren't cutting through there into their neighborhood.
Thank you, Councilmember Campbell. I did want to note that the vacuum room is located in the middle of this aisle here, and it's about 250 feet from the property, the residential properties. So there is a little bit of extra room there that you would be concerned about.
It's amazing how that noise carries, though, sometimes. So
definitely.
Thank you.
Any more discussion? All right, let's vote on it. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. 7.4 is to consider the comprehensive sign package for Goodyear Municipal Complex. Alex, you're back up again.
Thank you again, Mayor. This next request is an amendment to the existing Veneta Business Park or Business Complex Comprehensive Sign Package to create the Goodyear Municipal Complex Comprehensive Sign Package. After the city purchased the property in 2012 and the Goodyear Library moved into Building C, it was important to redesign the signage to create a package that was unique and easy to navigate. The signage has already been implemented to expedite the accessibility to the city departments while the sign package guidelines were being defined to provide for compatibility and flexibility with Franklin Pierce University signage and future tenant signage, if need be, which the Franklin Pierce University signage has now been installed. As I've shown in the provided documents, the comprehensive sign package is comparable to the guidelines outlined in the city zoning ordinance and other sign packages that have been approved in the city, and staff recommends approval.
Thank you, I'm sorry. I'm going to ask her if there's any speaker cards, though. The speaker. All right. I've been told there aren't any speaker cards, so I'm going to need a motion and a second to consider. I'm sorry, we kind of changed this around here to consider a comprehensive sign package for the Goodyear Municipal Complex. Do I hear a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second. Heard a motion from Councilman Campbell and a second from Councilman Pizzillo. Open for council discussion. Councilman Stipp.
Katie, I'm not gonna fire this one at Alex. Is it normal for comprehensive sign packages to be approved after the fact?
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Stipp. No, it is not normal. It would be best practice to have gotten this taken care of before the signage went up. Because we were acting in our government capacity, we were okay. And I just want to say the reason it was delayed is because we've been working with our tenant, Franklin Pierce, on how should their sign fit in with the complex, what should we do. You know, they had a banner for a very long time. So we didn't want to make changes to the comprehensive sign package that didn't work for them and then go ahead and make changes again. So we did hold it up because of that. And
Okay, so in my typical one, if we're having to abide by the same rules as everybody else, how would this be addressed if this wasn't our property and it was a business or a development that was making changes to their comprehensive sign package? What would we have done with this after the fact?
Thank you, Mayor Lord, Councilmember Stipp. You mean if we saw somebody had gone and just put up signage and then we go through them? Well, I can't speak for not having gotten a building permit, but on the planning side, we would look and see if it meets the regulations. We would work with the business. We don't have fines or penalties in the zoning ordinance on if you've done things after the fact. But like I said, I can't speak to the building permit. I think there are fines and penalties on the building permit side if you put something up without a permit. But I'm not sure what those are.
Yeah, and I don't mean to grill you on the subject matter, and I understand the concept of it's good to be the king, you get to make your own rules. But if we have these things in place, I think we probably should be setting a greater example for our community by following those rules. I said very similar things to the discussion about the digital billboards. If that had been private development, we never would have allowed it, but because it was ours, we did. So it's just an observation. The sign package for this complex is very appropriate. It looks very good. So we theoretically dodged a bullet on that, but I'm hopeful that staff is as flexible with a business partner that may have stretched in the idea of seeking forgiveness rather than seeking permission.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks.
Mayor, Councilmember Stipp, we greatly appreciate your comments and take them to heart.
Councilman Osborne?
You know, this is a different staff and different people, but this really is upsetting because I remember 9 years ago, there was a company that put up their own monument sign, beautiful monument sign, did not go through the proper process. And that was bad on them, and I recall this. And they had spent thousands of dollars for that monument sign, and the city made them take it down. They made them remove it. And I remember that, and I was very upset. And that should not be. And so, granted, like I said, it's different management. These are different people that are involved now and different staff. I don't ever want to see this type of situation happen again.
I'm going to speak up and then ahead of the other council on this because I was on the council when that happened and we voted down. This particular customer refused to do anything. He was approached by staff many times over, and it was a matter of a meeting of minds. And so he built it. And so I was one of those council people that said, hey, listen, we've done everything we can. I voted to take down the sign. So I'm one of those. I just wanted to clarify that right now. Rest of the discussion? Any other discussion? Compliments to staff. I think that the look of the signs, I'm not embarrassed that this was a mishap that happened because if I had to go out and get a bunch of signatures for you on the comments on those signs, we would have hundreds of them. The public has just come forth and great admiration for the design and the color. And so I'm quite proud, and I'm sorry I missed Councilman Holman wanted to come have a remark.
Well, I just wanted to say I agree with what you just said, Mayor Lord. One of the first things I kind of made my mission when I took council 2 years ago is that the signage was so bad. I could see why customers were finally reaching their destination in a very negative frame of mind, just trying to find out where they needed to go. And I think you've resolved that. I think it's attractive. I think it's informative. And I think it's practical. I think it's going to stay looking like it is today. And so I am impressed with all the work that has been done and very grateful.
Thank you. Councilman Osborne.
And actually, I'm happy with the signs. And I apologize for not giving that. I was more upset over knowing that this situation had happened in the past. And so that's what bothered me. But quite frankly, I do like the signs. When I first looked at this, the color is bad on the iPad because it looks like the signs are going to be not what we already have. And I was looking at them going, where is that sign? I've never seen that sign. So I do really like the signs that we have. And I think that it's very important, especially as we've talked about branding and our image and having these signs on every single property that we have that flow together is very important. So I appreciate that, Sherilyn and Mayor, on that regard, because I agree with you on that. I think these signs are very legible and I like them. Thank you.
Thank you. Are we ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. So let's go on to 7.5 to consider the first amendment to the Intergovernmental Agreement for the El Rio Watercourse implementation and management. Hello, Joe Schmitz. Nice to see you. Long Range Planager to present.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm here to ask you tonight to consider adopting Resolution 151714 to approve the First Amendment to the Intergovernmental Agreement for the El Rio Watercourse Implementation and Management Plan. By way of background, the original IGA was executed in December of 2013, and the participants in the IGA were the cities of Goodyear, Buckeye, Avondale, and the county, both in its capacity as the flood control district, but also as the county itself planning and development.
Whoops.
Lights went out.
There it goes.
There's goblins in the machine tonight.
Welcome back, Joe.
The consultant was hired in October of 2014, and the project was initiated in November of 2014. However, the IGA didn't anticipate that the project would take that long, and so it's expired on June 30th, just a few weeks ago. So we're requesting it to be extended to June 30th of 2016. The new projected completion date is November of this year. And as you recall, the purpose of the project was to develop design guidelines for development of adjacent to the Gila River. The study area extends from the confluence of the Agua Fria River all the way to State Route 85 in Buckeye. It includes trail standards, development standards, and signage standards, of which I'm going to show you some drafts that have been prepared so far. And it also includes a conceptual site plan for a pilot project in each city. For example, this is one of the exhibits that shows how adjacent to the river we want to have public open spaces and common areas that provide access to the river so that people can access the trails. This is an example of the edge condition treatment where you have a levee. We would want a landscape setback adjacent to the levee, and we will be adopting common trail standards that basically are based on the ones that we have adopted in our Parks Master Plan, and that'll be used consistently throughout the corridor. We have standards for navigation signs. These are consistent with MAG standards, but also incorporate some elements like the El Rio signs here in colors that are a little bit different than the regulatory signs, which we will comply with. This is an example of a project identity sign that could be used to identify a project along or a trailhead along the project. It can be unique to the community, and these are suggested materials and design. And then each community is getting a conceptual development plan for a pilot project. The pilot project that the city of Goodyear has identified is an expansion of the to create a trailhead at the intersection of Vineyard and South Bullard Avenue in conjunction with the county's demonstration site, where they've developed a demonstration site for vegetation removal and replacement with native vegetation. There's a trail that goes off from this direction to their demonstration project site. And the idea is to develop a trailhead here, which would be an origin and destination point along the Maricopa Trail as it passes through Goodyear. And it builds upon the county existing project and provides access to future trails along the river. This is a location that was identified in the Parks Master Plan, so it's consistent in that regard. And we'll be bringing you a more formal presentation in the future as the project continues to move toward completion. So that completes my presentation for tonight, and I would ask that you consider approval of the resolution to extend the contract.
Joe, thank you very much. Are there any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
Would anybody in the audience like to speak? Well, will the city clerk then please read Resolution 15-1714 by title only, please?
Adopt Resolution Number 15-1714, authorizing the city manager or designee to execute the First Amendment to an intergovernmental agreement among the Flood Control District of Maricopa County, and the City of Avondale, City of Buckeye, and the City of Goodyear for the development of the El Rio Watercourse Implementation and Management Plan to extend the term of the agreement by 1 year and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Could I have a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
I heard by a motion by Councilman Stipp and a second by Councilman Osborne. Open for council discussion. Start on this side. Councilman Holman, do you have anything? Okay. Councilman Campbell?
Well, Mayor, I read with great interest the story of this in the paper. I thought just a couple of days ago, or maybe it's been a week. My days are running together. But the vision for the entire project is so exciting because it's a legacy for generations to come when this is done. For my Leadership West Class 20 project, we were going to be very ambitious and develop and master plan the trail, we thought, working with the county until we realized there was no connection through Goodyear or Buckeye, and that needed to be planned plus connected north of us in Glendale, in Peoria. And so this is really very exciting. And I'm sorry it's taking longer than we thought, because I'm anxious to see what the guidelines are going to be and to see the actual master plan. But this should be just wonderful. And thank you very much.
Any other comments? Councilman Osborne.
Well, thank you for the presentation. I'm thrilled that it's back. You know, this was one of those items that gosh, I know I was part of 8 or 9 years ago, and it obviously at the recession had to get put on hold. So this is exciting, and it's really neat to see all the communities, the cities, and these partners coming together to make this, you know, really an attractive future idea. So good.
Yeah, I agree with you, Councilman Osborne. It's good to see it back. I worked on that for a while, and Sherilyn, I think you were part of that. And then I do want to mention also for the Historical Society, they've been working so long during the centennial. That was part of their goal, to clean it up along the riverside, and they did as much as they could, and they had to kind of give up the project. And so I know they must be extremely happy to see this on the map, that something will be done eventually about it, and the good work that they did is not going to go away. And so compliments to you on this. I'm very happy about this. So we're ready to vote. So could I have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Campbell?
Aye.
Councilmember Stipp?
Aye.
Councilmember Holman?
Aye.
Councilmember Osborne?
Aye.
Councilmember Pizzillo?
Aye.
Mayor Lord?
Aye.
Passes 6-0.
Thank you, Joe. We're going to 7.6 to consider approving the intergovernmental agreement with the Arizona Department of Transportation for the I-10 and the SR 303 Interchange Phase 2 City Maintained Facilities and Interchange Aesthetics. There we go again. Update. Rebecca Zook, Director of Engineering, and Luke Albert, City Traffic Engineer, and Guyleen Oslansky, Arts and Culture Coordinator. All of you to present on this?
Mayor, members of the council, it'd be myself and Guyleen presenting tonight.
-1. Okay. Rebecca Zook is going to stay seated, I gather, during this. Okay. All right. Great. All right. Go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. I'm Luke Albert, and I am joined by Guyleen Oslansky. And during this presentation, I will open by discussing the I-10 Loop 303 Interchange Phase 2 and the intergovernmental agreement associated with it. And then Guyleen will discuss the project aesthetics. This graphic shows the construction that will be completed as part of Phase 2 of the interchange. The yellow is the roadway construction, the orange is the bridges being completed, and the blue is the temporary detour on Van Buren Street. The key construction elements are the Loop 303 main line is going to be completed down to Van Buren Street, as well as the flyovers that are partially constructed right now will be completed so that you'll have access to and from I-10 to Loop 303 to the south. And also the interchange at Van Buren Street will be constructed, which is the focus of the elements of this intergovernmental agreement. The project is currently scheduled to advertise in September of 2015, with it being awarded in December of this year. And then in February of 2016, construction is scheduled to begin, with it being completed during the summer of 2017. The key points of the agreement are shown on this slide. Traffic signal interconnect conduit for the city's fiber network will be constructed along Van Buren Street within the project limits, as well as CCTV cameras will be installed at the Loop 303 and Van Buren Street interchange so that traffic can be monitored remotely at that interchange from the Traffic Management Center, as well as the operation and maintenance of the traffic signal at Loop 303 and Van Buren Street will be the city's responsibility. And then the accent colors at the interchange of Loop 303 and Van Buren Street are included in the agreement and will be discussed in much more detail by Guyleen. Before I turn the presentation over to her, I'd like to see if there are any questions about the transportation elements of the agreement.
Thank you. Guyleen?
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Tonight, I'd like to accomplish two goals. First, I'll provide council with an update on the aesthetic improvements at Van Buren as part of the Phase 2 road construction for the 303 and the involvement of the Arts and Culture Commission throughout this process. Also, we are seeking council's input on the color treatment for the aesthetic improvements that will be used at the Van Buren traffic interchange. In February of this year, ADOT and their architects reached out to Goodyear Arts and Culture to involve us in identifying the motif to be used at Van Buren. The opportunity was shared with the Goodyear Arts and Culture Commission at the March Commission meeting. At this meeting, the commissioners deliberated on possible themes that would represent Goodyear. They suggested water, Hohokam petroglyphs, and cotton as possible motifs for the project. After careful consideration, the commission selected the cotton motif. They felt that cotton reflected the historical and geographic story of this particular area of Goodyear. Once the motif was selected, the commissioners were instrumental in the selection of the final design that you will see tonight. The cotton design presented includes a graphic representation of the cotton boll, crop rows, and the mountains. The examples I'll be showing are of the dynamic design that was created through the coordinated efforts of all stakeholders, which included the Arts and Culture Commission, ADOT, ADOT's architects, and city staff. This design tells a story of Goodyear's history. The color treatment for this project is the next item for consideration. As part of the roadway project, ADOT funds a base color, which is the brown you see in the two examples on this slide, and one accent color, which is the dark green. The Arts and Culture Commission is recommending the use of one additional accent color to create a unique visual experience and an area of distinction from other roadways in the city. I'll be showing examples of both two accent color and one accent color treatments for you to consider. In this example, you'll see two greens being used, a light green and a dark green. The viewer you are seeing here is of being on Van Buren underneath the 303. As a reminder, this is an artist's rendering and the colors are slightly off by looking at them on the PowerPoint. The light green appears to be more yellow on this slide. In actuality, it will be a light shade of green. Looking at this slide, you see the brown base color and dark green accent, which is provided by ADOT. You'll also see a grayish-white area. This will be left as an exposed concrete finish to emulate the appearance of the cotton as the boll splits and exposes the cotton inside. And the final color you see is the additional accent color to create contrast within the design. To include one additional accent color, the cost to the city would be approximately $3,500, and long-term maintenance costs would be handled on a billable invoice basis from ADOT. This next view is of the two-color accent design when traveling east and westbound on Van Buren. This shows how bold and eye-catching this design is. I'd also like to share with you the design, how it appears with one accent color. This view, again, is from Van Buren being underneath the 303. What you see in this example is the standard one-color treatment. By using one color, there would be no additional cost to the city. To create a contrast on the leaves, a texture would be used to provide a slight variation in the design. I've placed both options side by side here for your review. It is the consensus of the Arts and Culture Commission and staff that a two-accent color treatment would provide a unique visual experience at the Van Buren Interchange. At this time, I can answer any questions you have about the aesthetic enhancements.
Thank you very much. Council, we're going to take this in two portions, so your comments will have to be under those. So are there any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
Would anybody in the audience like to speak? We've got a sparse audience now here. All right. Will the city clerk please read on point one, Resolution 15-1709 by title only, please?
Adopt Resolution number 15-1709. PA 15-0005376-1 with the State of Arizona acting by and through its Department of Transportation to establish responsibility for funding, installation, operation, and maintenance responsibilities for city-maintained facilities to be constructed with the I-10 and Loop 303 system traffic interchange Phase 2 in the city of Goodyear.
All right, then can I please have a motion and a second?
So moved.
I heard a motion by Councilman Osborne, a second by Councilman Holman. All right. Open for council discussion, and this discussion is just on the agreement. Any discussion? All right. That sounds good to me. How about a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Stipp?
Aye.
Councilmember Holman?
Aye.
Councilmember Osborne?
Aye.
Aye.
Councilmember Pizzillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Campbell?
Aye.
Mayor Lord?
Aye.
Passes 6-0.
All right, now we're on the second portion of it. So I need a motion and a second to direct staff regarding the incorporation of an additional accent color to the SR 303 interchange at Van Buren Street. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I heard a motion by Councilman Pizzillo and a second by Councilman Osborne. Now, open for council discussion. Who would like to start for Councilman Pizzillo?
I don't know much about art, but I like it when I see it. I appreciate the accent. I think it's going to really add to the underpass and the overpass over there as you go through it. And I think it makes a big difference with the accent versus just one color. So I'm for it.
Councilman Osborne.
Well, I appreciate the cotton. I think that it is part of our history, and I think it should be celebrated. It is part of Goodyear. I'm glad you explained the colors, because when I first looked at this, I thought I've never seen a lime green crop out there. So I appreciate you letting me know. And this kind of goes back to the previous slides of the signage that looked like they were, a whole different color of signs. So you know what? I can go either way, and I think that if the Arts Commission said, "Hey, it looks," you can see more of detail by having the two colors. I'm fine with that.
Councilman Holman.
Would you clarify again what the difference in cost is? It kind of got lost on me.
It would be an additional cost of about approximately $3,500 for the city to include the second accent color.
Total.
And
what's the upkeep? I mean, is there an upkeep to this, that it would be costly more costly to do it with a second accent color?
Hi, Rebecca Zook, Mayor, Council Member. We believe it's going to be $3,500 approximately every 10 years.
That's 10 years.
Then I would reiterate what our council member said. I think that it is more distinctive with a second color, but I could go either way.
All right. No other. I'm going to speak about it. I like the combination of the colors, and I know what you mean because I have painted before, and so I know that's trying to make it more leaf-like, and so you need that definition, kind of the 3D look that we want. My only comment was, and this is a pretty vast area, so I think it's probably a weak comment. I didn't know if it was just too much on the stanchions, all of those, but rethinking it. I'm not thinking about the volume of the space as you drive through. Here it's so close up. So the council likes it. They picked it out. Your team did, and they're the artists, and so I'm fine with it. But I would like the definition and the colors. So, Councilman Campbell, do you have? I'm sorry.
That's all right. I really like the overpass that's got the geckos and it's in the red. Personally, I'm not a green person at all, and as long as this doesn't look gaudy, it's okay. The cotton is great. It does mean Goodyear, but even our little benches on Western with the cotton, you can't even tell it's cotton. People don't know that's cotton. They don't know what it is. So, I'm one of the ones that complained with how they did our underpasses without asking council their input when I first came on council, because the one with the metal, whatever that is. It's horrible. It's ugly, and it's don't get me started. So anyway, and I said then, why doesn't council have a say in what we're going to put around our city, especially on an overpass? And this is how we've come this far, but it's already a done deal, so it doesn't matter, what we say, do whatever everybody wants to do. It's just too late now.
Any other discussion? Okay, this is going to be your last vote for the
Good.
summer. You all prepared for this? So I just want
Ready.
some enthusiasm in your answer. So all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oh, what an awful group. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much for all your hard work. All right, we're down to the information items. So, Council, would you like to talk about what you've done, where you've been? Nobody wants to? Oh, well, I am going to talk about something because I really want you to do this. I was invited to Pathways, Senior Living, and, we were there for the opening, but it's changed. They've changed the management of it. They've also, I would say, dressed up the interior, changed their whole plan in this memory care. And in fact, in each of the houses they have, and like in one of the house, they have two couples, both have Alzheimer's in different stages. And so they're looking at all the latest and greatest ways to handle patients in Alzheimer's. So they really have changed the application to it. And they may even be doing in one of the buildings Parkinson's disease and doing that. It looks beautiful inside, so I'm just going to encourage you to go make an appointment. It's Ryan Desmond is the manager of it now. And
Where's that one located?
That's on Pebble Creek Parkway. On the what side of Pebble Creek Parkway? On the south side.
East side.
That was easy. On the south side of Indian School. And Pebble Creek.
And east of Pebble Creek Parkway.
Southeast corner.
Northeast.
Northeast. I'm sorry, you're right. Northeast. So anyway, I would do that. I also attended the Luke chapter at the base the other night. Ron and I did, and that was a nice event. So that's about it. So I guess, Councilman Stipp.
I thought for sure you'd talk about the Luxair.
Oh, shoot.
Groundbreaking.
It's on my list.
It was, we had a nice weather day, which was good. It wasn't blazing hot when they started. But it was very interesting to note that this is the first development that's occurring on the airport site since, and everyone thinks before 2001, but they think it was 1998 or 1999. But it was great. They're going to build a huge facility. Really add a great business component to the airport, which will be really good for us and economic development as we're going forward. So I was excited to be there.
Thank you for reminding me. I have it on my list, and I don't know why I didn't say it, but I'm very encouraged by it because it's something that was planned a long, long time ago. A little name change there in who finally has decided to build this, but they stuck with it. They didn't leave the city, and so yeah. You're absolutely right. And it's really going to dress up the airport. It's a beautiful building. So I'm thrilled. Yeah, Councilman Campo.
I'm glad you brought up Pathways. I wasn't going to mention it, but I will now. This morning I attended the State Board of Nursing Home Facilities licensing, and we had a discussion on cluster homes. We passed a law now that says you can only hang your license as a residential manager at 2 locations, and you have to be within 25 miles of each other to preclude people from having their license at more than 5 or 6 facilities. And because of the way Pathways is laid out, my board did not understand the proximity of each of the buildings. So I was able to talk on their behalf so that we did not change the law, because otherwise we would have required them to have 5 managers on site because of the number of their buildings. So we're going to allow them to have 1 facilities manager manage all of the villas. And so that is very helpful to us.
Good. I have one other thing. I just want to bring this up. I hope all of you got this, the LESD Tribune.
Yes.
About
that was wonderful.
Litchfield Park Schools.
It was very good.
It is a extremely comprehensive articles on everything, on the funding, how the school district run, all the.
You're the same
just
side we are.
A marvelous publication. So I just want to give the school district an applause on this because with all the discussion out there about the bonds and the taxing and all this, it's all in here. It's a really good explanation. It has fact check in it, I would say. You know, you see in the Arizona Republic that this is the information as it is. So I just encourage you to tell your neighbors, especially Pebble Creek, around and start. You know, it answers a lot of questions. Okay, all right, your turn, Brian.
Mayor, members of the council, a couple of things, just follow-up items. We will be providing an update and potential for tours if you'd like them for the Family Advocacy Center. So we'll get those updated to you. And the other is when we have the Luke Air Force Base proximity map, we'll let council know that as well when we're looking at putting it on our website. That's what I have in terms of the follow-up. And in terms of, and thank you, Council Member Stipp, for acknowledging Luxair. Just a couple of points on that. It is a big deal, and to see the Tim Berger and family that are putting a lot of time and effort and mortgage, if you will, behind it. It's a $9.7 million project.
Yeah.
60,000 square feet now, and a couple of components are having 3 hangars, 12,500 square feet each. Luxair will have their FBO, fixed base operator facility, in 10,000 square feet. And there will be office space that can be available. So economic development team will be looking to help try and fill that. And that's at 18,000 square feet. So it is a good story. And I think it was, I want to say 1999 when the terminal was built there at the airport. And nothing has gone on really since then except for modifications to some of the old hangars. The other item, and courtesy of the police chief, they're hosting their 10th annual Teen Police Academy this week. So we have 30 Goodyear teens, 14 to 18 years old. They'll spend the entire week taking an inside look at law enforcement. The curriculum will include crime scene investigations, firearms safety, SWAT operations, traffic laws, drug awareness, and CPR. So the class is very much hands-on. They do this every year. And the class always fills to capacity. So it's our young folks have really liked this. We had some coverage from Channel 10 News today on the first day of the class, and they covered that. So that was on this morning's news. So congratulations, Police Department, for that program. It's well received. And lastly, I know it's break time, and appreciate council over the last several months. It's been a long haul to get to this point. On behalf of management, staff, enjoy your time away. We will keep you informed as we need to. We'll try not to bother you, but don't hesitate if you have questions. Look forward to getting back on October 24th. But that was a Freudian slip. Did I say
Take
Freudian?
it. Okay.
August 24th. Thank you for that correction. And again, thank you for all your hard work to get to this point through the budget and all the things that have gone on through this session. So thank you.
Do you have any staff summary or action? Do you have any council inquiries to the city manager now? You have any homework for the summer for them while we're gone?
Oh sure.
Huh?
I'll send you an email.
Yes.
Yeah. Councilman Holland?
I just don't think it qualifies as any one of those, but I'd like to say it anyway. As hard as the council has worked, and we have put in many, many hours, but I think you probably double or triple of it when it comes to staff. You're incredible. You do a good job. Your response is admirable and professional, and I think you should be commended and enjoy our time off.
Round of applause for them. Absolutely. So I'm going to adjourn this. There's no other comments. And have a safe time on your time off. And, pardon me? See you in October. Yeah, no, I see you in August. All right. Meeting adjourned.